Kind of amazing. The third Sunday of Advent is already here. We lit the rose-colored candle of joy. We sang Joy to the World. You just heard Robin Reed's joyful prelude to Christmas text, anticipating the advent of Jesus' arrival and setting out Mary's rejoicing with a powerful song, the Magnificat. If you've not yet figured it out, joy is the theme of this Advent Sunday. And I love that in Luke's nativity stories, Mary and Elizabeth, and even the unborn John the Baptist, rejoice that baby Jesus is on the way. News that a baby is on the way and that a baby has been born is across cultures among the most joyful information humans share. Many of us leap for joy at the unborn, quickening John, except outside the womb. In my own life, nothing has exceeded the joy I felt at the arrival of our children. Each one of their births had me bursting with an indescribable gladness. I was beside myself, more than a little giddy. I didn't just leap for joy. I don't swear that I walked on air in the gaiety of the moments that followed each birth. And joy around birth can be catchy, like it is in the reading with Elizabeth and John, beaming with joy because Mary's beaming with a baby. I got someone I didn't even know beaming a bit when our first child, Tristan, arrived in the wee hours before dawn, and that person was not even in the same town. Actually, I don't know where they were or even who they were. See, I tried to dial my mother-in-law with the news at 5 a.m., but I dialed the wrong number, and I woke up some poor soul. And the news of the event was so joyful that the half-awake stranger showed no sign of being upset at the call, but graciously congratulated us and shared a brief moment of joy. And of course, when I finally got my mother-in-law, she rejoiced at the news too. Babies arriving, whether they are Jesus or not, are an almost universal cause and source of joy. In our culture, we even mark the milestone of each anniversary of birthdays with annual re-celebrations. The birth of each person tends to be rejoiced for years and years by families. But no one's birth quite gets celebrated like Jesus' birth. Much of the world joins in on his birthday with a lot of celebration, and it's been that way for hundreds and hundreds of years. And the reason, of course, is that everything about Jesus that occurred after his arrival turned him into a gift for all of creation. His followers remember him with deep gratitude and great joy for all he accomplished and provided and provides still. Jesus' goodness and continuing powerful effect in our lives often causes us to gloss over the fact that as joyful as the conception and pregnancy and birth and life of Jesus turned out, the beginning and the ending came out of some pretty deep darknesses. The deep darknesses getting overwhelmed by goodness and light make the joy quite profound. The darkness should not be overlooked. There was darkness. As the Gospels tell it, even Jesus' conception caused trouble. See, even way back then, men tried to control female bodies to the point of casting a pall to the tiding of a broken pregnancy. Mary's status as an unwed pregnant teenager made her a criminal back in the day. And it wasn't a small crime either. She could have been executed or forced to have an abortion under biblical law, and at the very least, she likely would have been shunned or otherwise disgraced in her community. And some scholars speculate Mary went to the hill country to hide out with Elizabeth and avoid the criminal and social recriminations that her pregnancy would have generated. We are joyful about it. John and Elizabeth are joyful about it. Mary and God are joyful about it. But sadly, ironically, as universal a thing joy about a baby is, not everyone shared or helped with that joy. Men didn't like women getting pregnant outside their rules, so much so they created religious ordinances that, if followed, would have literally barred Mary from having Jesus. In the context of the gospel narrative, Mary is very brave to do what she did and to conceive and birth Jesus. And there's great joy that she succeeded. Joseph and Mary together are brave later in Luke when the darkness of an oppressive regime forces them to go to Bethlehem with no provision of a decent room for them when they get there. They find the means to make do with a manger for the birth of Jesus. And they are even braver in Matthew when they learn that King Herod wanted to capture and kill Jesus. The Holy Family became alien refugees in Egypt, fleeing Herod. And there is great joy. Joseph and Mary succeeded at birthing and protecting baby Jesus, bringing the light of their love into those dark times. And that was all just in the beginning of Jesus' life. We know now, too, that in the end, Jesus was treated horribly and executed by Caesar. Those times of darkness did not extinguish the light. Jesus even lives on after death. He is resurrected in the loving way he taught and left behind. He is resurrected as an experiential reality for his followers. Rome's darkness only made Jesus stronger, his light all the brighter. And there's so much joy in the reality of that, in the reality of Jesus' life defeating darkness. And it's merged into the Advent and Christmas messages and songs. Christians know the end has good news, and they loved it so much and rejoiced way back when that they began to celebrate the beginning, the birthday of Christ. Christmas is remembered because it worked out so well from that Christmas start to that Easter finish with everlasting results. Without Jesus' life and death and resurrection, his goodness and love and light in the darkness, there'd be no Christmas. Jesus lives on after that first Christmas. He grows to become the very light of the world. And while joy very often surrounds the promise of a birth and the birth of a child, joy also very often surrounds light's victories over darkness, good's triumph over evil. And that's what all the hoopla is about, or supposed to be about, at Christmas. Christmas stories in the Gospels, actually all the stories in the Gospels, seem to be about the light of heaven's victories over the darkness of earthly power. Rome and its stooges lose to God and to Jesus. That's at the heart of all the rejoicing. And that type of joy is in the song in our reading, in the Magnificat that Robin read so well. Light over darkness and good over evil is what Mary sings about and seems most joyful about. She's excited about Jesus' birth for sure, but not just because he's an infant of hers, but because she's been chosen to bring him into the world to fulfill God's promises. The very prospect of that causes her soul to magnify God and rejoice in God, her Savior. Her song portends what Jesus brings to all of us in the end. Good news of love winning, good news of oppression and injustice losing, good news for most of the world to rejoice about. Well, some of you may have noticed that I lift up Mary's song, the Magnificat, every Advent. I bring it up because I love it, and I'm always kind of sad that it's not a popular carol of the season, so I want people to remember it. And I've mentioned in the past how Mary's song has been considered by many in power to be far too radical for the masses to have in their minds and on their lips. I found a 2018 article in the Washington Post by D.L. Mayfield that reported it like this, quote, "Throughout history, poor and oppressed people have often identified with this song, the longest set of words spoken by a woman in the New Testament, and a poor, young, unmarried, pregnant woman at that. Oscar Romero, a priest and martyr, drew a comparison between Mary and the poor and powerless people in his own community. Dietrich Bonhoeffer, a German pastor and theologian who was executed by the Nazis, called the Magnificat the most passionate, the wildest, one might even say the most revolutionary hymn ever sung. Revolutionary, the poor and the oppressed all love Mary and they emphasize her glorious song. But the Magnificat has been viewed as dangerous by people in power. Some countries such as India, Guatemala, and Argentina have outright banned the Magnificat from being recited in liturgy or in public. Now that is song. And the song in that context gives a whole new view of Mary. She's not just a quiet woman in blue smiling at her son in a nativity scene. Ben Wildflower, the artist who made the image of Mary that in your bulletin this week, says he was inspired to create that version of her as a radical by using her own words because Mary's, quote, a young woman singing a song about toppling rulers from their thrones. She's a radical who exists within the confines of institutionalized religion. End quote. But here's the thing, circling back to our joy theme. Mary tells us she's rejoicing in the Savior God who does the toppling of rulers from thrones, or in the words of Mary on Wildflower's images, who will cast down the mighty, send the rich away, fill the hungry, and lift the lowly. That's my kind of Bible hero. That's my kind of Savior God. Both images bring many of us joy. They inspire us to magnify the Lord with our souls and to do and sing as Mary did and does. Mary sang, "My soul magnifies the Lord, and my spirit rejoices in God my Savior, for he has looked with favor on the lowly state of his servant. Surely, from now on, all generations will call me blessed, for the mighty one has done great things for me, and holy is his name. Indeed, his mercy is for those who fear him from generation to generation. He has shown strength with his arm. He has scattered the proud in the imagination of their hearts. He has brought down the powerful from their thrones and lifted up the lowly. He has filled the hungry with good things and sent the rich away empty. He has come to the aid of his child Israel in remembrance of his mercy, according to the promises that he made to our ancestors, to Abraham and to his descendants forever." May we sing that song. Let our souls magnify the Lord, and our spirits rejoice in God.